You wouldn't believe it. I was glued to the TV during that vice presidential debate.
Oh, really?
I know, right? But it was like almost kind of refreshing, like old school.
Yeah.
They actually debated policy instead of just like attacking each other.
Yeah, it was a nice change. It felt like, back when substance mattered more than just like sound bites.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if this is a sign of things to come. Wouldn't that be something?
I hope so. Okay, so we've got our Pinch News articles here, ready for a deep dive. Their 5 takeaways piece is a good place to start.
Yeah, I've got it up.
Perfect.
Okay.
Takeaway number 1 takes us right back to, we all know it, Springfield, Ohio. And yep, you guessed it, the pet-eating rumors.
Oh, yeah. Vance's opponent's gift that keeps on giving. And Governor Walz definitely, used that, bringing it up when they were talking about immigration.
He didn't just mention it. He connected those totally unfounded claims Vance made about Haitian immigrants, harming pets, to get this, the bomb threats in Springfield.
Which, don't forget, caused Ohio's Republican governor to send in state troopers. Talk about, throwing shade, but also pointing out just how real the consequences are when you spread, misinformation.
Yeah. Walz came ready to play. He, reminded everyone about the bomb threats, tying them back to what Vance was saying. You could tell people were shocked.
It was such a clear example of, how dangerous this kind of talk can be, especially now when everyone's, on edge. Words matter, and in this case, what Vance said created fear, distrust, and it had a real impact on those people.
Okay, speaking of awkward moments, what about Walz's Tiananmen Square thing? Did he really think he'd get away with that?
It's not exactly a good look when a candidate gets caught exaggerating their past, even if it's not, completely uncommon. And it fed into all those criticisms about him being dishonest.
I know, right? But what was interesting was that Vance didn't really go after him on it. He mentioned honesty later, but it wasn't the attack you might expect, almost like he didn't want to look too eager to exploit it.
Yeah, Vance might have been playing the long game there. Attacking that directly could have backfired, made him seem too aggressive, and maybe turned off those moderate voters he needs. It's like politics 101, sometimes less is more.
Interesting. Okay, so from a kind of sort of true moment to a much bigger issue, the debate moved on to, you guessed it, abortion.
Yeah.
Which, no surprise, both candidates stayed on their usual sides.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Walz did something smart here. He, brought in the human side.
Totally. Pinch News mentioned that how he used personal stories, and it was effective.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's one thing to talk about abortion, theoretically, but when you hear from women whose lives have been changed by these laws.
Exactly. It's like a dose of reality in this debate.
Yeah.
It makes people face the real consequences of this stuff. Suddenly, it's not just politics anymore.
It's real life.
Right.
Okay, let's move to where we actually saw them agree, kind of, gun violence.
Yeah.
I was surprised when they both agreed it was a serious issue.
Me too. Some common ground, finally, in this, very divided debate. But you know how it is. The details matter.
Right.
They might agree it's a problem, but their solutions are, totally different.
Yeah.
Vance is all about the mental health angle, which, while important, sometimes feels like he's avoiding the gun control issue itself.
Which is why Walz's line about sometimes it just I ask the guns really hit home, especially after Vance talking so much about mental health.
Totally. It was like, hey, remember the guns. Mental health matters, but you can't deal with this without dealing with the guns themselves.
Exactly. Okay, and we can't forget the big clash of the night, January 6th. Pinch News talked about how Vance tried to deflect when Walz confronted him about his views on the insurrection, and Trump saying the election was stolen.
It was a big moment, and I think when Vance tried to downplay how serious that day was, it just, fell flat. Trying to compare it to Democrats being worried about Russia in 2016. Come on.
Yeah, especially when Walz said January 6th was not Facebook ads. And then he listed how much damage there was, the 140 officers who got hurt, people attacking them with the American flag, the trauma. You could feel the emotion in the room.
Yeah, it reminded everyone what was at stake that day. American democracy itself. Walz wouldn't let Vance avoid it, and he pointed out the real-world results. And I think that connected with a lot of voters who are worried about where our political system is headed.
And that feeling, that unease about our democracy, leads us perfectly into the next part of our deep dive. Because there was a big elephant in the room during this debate.
Yeah, sheep to that other Pinch News article about Iran, maybe. Getting ready to attack while Israel's doing their thing in Lebanon. This is a major potential global conflict, and it was basically invisible in that debate.
It's crazy, right? Israel actually put troops on the ground in Lebanon. Yeah. Iran might go after them. It's not just some small thing.
Yeah.
And the article even said that the U.S. is getting ready for possible missile attacks. We're talking serious stuff.
Yeah. And they're both up there trying to prove they can, like be president if they have to, and nothing. Makes you wonder, are they out of touch, or is it us? Are things here just so intense that we've forgotten about the rest of the world?
Voters must be thinking about it too, right? I mean, the economy, healthcare, that's all right here. But like you said, if Iran and Israel go at it, everyone feels it. It's almost like we can't just worry about our own backyard anymore.
It's a tough balance, and this is where, like, good leadership comes in. A good leader doesn't just focus on the loudest problem, they see the big picture. Because what happens in the world, good or bad, it affects us all.
Totally. And I think this debate showed the disconnect. You've got this huge international crisis, could change everything, and they just ignore it.
Yeah.
Like,
It was a choice, that's for sure. And it makes you think, are they doing it on purpose because they think talking about problems here will get them more votes? Or do they really not get what's happening out there?
either way, not super reassuring, is it? Like, did they even read the manual for this job?
Which brings us to something important. We're deep diving into this VP debate, but it's really like a preview for something bigger, the whole presidential race.
For sure. So are we going to see the same thing happen there? Are the candidates actually going to talk about this global stuff? So as we get closer to November and start really looking at these candidates, will they just avoid these big global issues? Or are they going to step up and talk about the elephant in the room, the world, I mean?
Yeah, that's the question, right? And it shows you what they care about, how they see America's place in the world, the kind of leaders they want to be.
Because, let's be real, ignoring something doesn't make it go away. It usually makes it worse. And pretending that what happens over there doesn't matter to us. Not smart.
Nope. We're all connected, like it or not. What our leaders do or don't do on that global stage, it affects us all. Our wallets, our safety, how people see us.
It's like, remember that saying? When America sneezes, the world catches a cold. But this time, it feels like the world's got the flu, and our leaders are saying, what flu?
And that's not what we need right now. We need leaders who get how complicated things are out there, who will actually deal with the tough stuff, who know that America matters in the world.
It's bigger than just like catchy phrases and promises on the campaign trail. It's about having a plan, a way to handle the tough stuff and the good stuff in a world that's, kind of messy.
Exactly. And it takes guts, to be honest with people, to have those hard talks about what it means to be America right now. But we need those talks, even if they're uncomfortable. That's what democracy is about.
So true. As we decide who to vote for, we got to remember all of this.
I agree. Don't just listen to what they say about things here at home. Pay attention to how they talk about the world, America's place in it. Do they get it? Do they have a plan? And most important, do you agree with them?
Because the world is watching, and so are we. And that's your deep dive for today.